Hi everyone, this is Dango from Rocky Valley server. In this video, I'm going to do a recommendations on auto Aniki level 70 farm and also the level 65 joint battle farm. The joint battle, of course, that's not auto. So yeah, the reason to do this video is because recently players has been discussing about how terrible it is to do a public like auto Aniki farming or like joint battle farming. So yeah, so hopefully this video can help you decide what units to use and to farm those like joint battle or like Anikis more effectively. So before we start, I want to say this is just a recommendations for like general public auto farms, and you may have like specific characters that you build, and maybe like using these characters is better than what I recommend. So that's like totally possible. So I just want to say the most like generic best combinations for these battles, and also like when I do these recommendations. I assume you have decent power of those recommended characters. If you don't have those characters well built, then it is still not a good idea to use them. For example, if I say like Landius is recommended, or like Leon is recommended, then at least for like level 70 Aniki farming or level 65 like joint battle, I hope that you have these characters at least above 6,000 power. And for characters like Zareda or like Cherry, then I assume you have at least 5,000 power. So let's start with like some like general rules. Like if you want to farm Aniki level 70 effectively, then long-life characters like Cherry or like Leon or like Landius or Zareda, these characters or Angelina, yeah, these characters are generally more recommended because it's just help you farm more effectively. Different from like level 65 Aniki, lot of the level 70 Aniki map is actually very big, so these long range characters actually helps a lot. And the other rule is that because we are doing auto farm, so it is not necessarily that we attack the enemy before they attack us. So characters that can deal decent damage when being attacked is usually preferred as well. For example, in this case, Landius is very good because Landius can travel 5 spots and he can like deal decent damage when countering attack. And the other rule is basically no Stigma, because Stigma is like very special character that the AI doesn't know how Stigma works, and it never turns out to be good. I have one time that my that one of the player brings Stigma, and from the beginning till the end, that Stigma just basically travels 3 spots and use his like what the skill that generates forest, and then he move again, cannot attack anyone, and then he stops here. He just do it over and over again, and just never attack. So Stigma is terrible. AI doesn't know how Stigma works, so never use Stigma. And also don't bring teleport skill because AI is not going to use any of the teleport skill. So in this case, I'm just mainly talking about characters like Leonhardt or like Hyen or like Iris if you are using them in your auto farm. Yeah, Leonhardt is still pretty commonly used, but the other 2 characters I don't really recommend people to use. So let's just go through this. So I'm going to talk about Andong, Rocky, and Samsung first because these 3 Anikis are pretty like similar in characters to be used, and Samsung is a little bit hard because people don't really bring the red characters. But Andong and Rocky is actually pretty easy, I would say, with any characters that you bring. Especially like Andong is very easy. And in this case, like basically the recommendations, as you can see, I just basically recommend you to bring some long-leg characters like Leon, Zareda, Claret, and Cherry, and also Luna, Outmuller, Landius, Matthew as player or cavalry are very good, and also Angelina Deerhard as a cavalry using Unicorn is very good as well. And Sonia, if you have a decent Sonia, then she's also very good. So basically, those characters are all like long-leg characters. And when you are using Leon, I recommend you to use Royal Cavalry for Andong and Rocky. Leon is actually not very tanky if you are using like Angel in like Andong. So like add-on, if there is a chance that he can get killed by this like in this Aniki. So basically, I really recommend you to use Royal Cavalry instead. And for Zareda, Hellfire Archer is always the best, because in this level 70 Aniki, the enemy, especially the like Aniki themselves, like the boss themselves, they have like huge amount of health points. So Hellfire Archer is always going to do more damage in this case. And yeah, for Claret and Cherry, it's basically whatever troops you leveled, you can just use them. And for Luna, I basically just recommend you to use Flyer only. This is because this is like auto run, so Archer Luna isn't going to work well. Archer Luna is actually very bad for auto run. And also Altmoner is pretty good. Landius is always the MVP for any of these Aniki farming. Matthew as Cavalry and Flyer both can work. And Angelina and Deerheart with Unicorn works very well in all these 3 battles as well. So this is basically how this one works. Samsung is the one, sometimes you will have issue if you are not bringing the right characters. So I really don't recommend you to bring any short leg characters in Samsung, because in this Aniki farming, you likely have characters killed, because you know Samsung has a very high attack, and basically his thousand wolves basically like one shot anyone. So you really want to make sure all of your characters can follow up. So just basically make sure that if you are farming like Samsung, you use all these long leg characters. If you have any like teammate, especially like first player or second player, they are using like short range characters like Elven or like Vegas, then probably you need to adjust with them. It just takes much longer time to finish, but then you don't want to, you know, have these, you know, you don't want to have both the long leg characters and short leg characters together in this map basically. And then for drones, like drones is the most challenging Aniki farming. Personally, when I farm with like pups, so sometimes I observed that in the end only like my characters left, or only like 1 or 2 Zareda left. So yeah, so this is the most challenging for like auto farm, I guess. But in this like Aniki training, Zareda and Landius combo is basically the best. So Zareda times 3, so basically 3 Zareda plus 2 Landius works very well. And besides Zareda, Omega works pretty well here as well. I think a very good Norm or like Assassin Deerheart should work as well. And later when Amelia comes, she is pretty like she's very good in this map as well. The reason that in this map, you know, this Amelia and Landius works well is because this map has a lot of archer and assassin like mobs, and if you bring like Lading or like Vegas, they really cannot counterattack. And at the beginning, you have 2 like demon units that will apply curse on you, so you cannot heal back. So it is actually pretty dangerous to bring just a Lading, because he may potentially. I think Lading is actually pretty fun, because he's not likely to be killed because he's a holy unit. But Vegas is pretty dangerous, and yeah, so in this case, I really just recommend a combination of Zareda plus Landius in this auto battle. Do not use, if you use Leon, that's fine, but you have to use Leon with Royal Cavalry, and it is better to take out Cavalry scale with Leon, so that he's not killed, you know, alone. And I don't recommend you to use any of the player units like Claret, Cherry, or like Altmoner. Those units are terrible in this battle. Yeah, there's no way they can do much damage, especially even if you fight like Aniki himself, like if you fight Jones himself, he has actually EMB equipped, so your characters still suffer a lot by like hitting him if you are like a flyer unit. So yeah, I would say just don't try to use flyers in this map. And basically the best combo is like assassins and plus Landius. You basically need Landius to survive the first turn, because the 2 demon units is going to hit you. If you only bring like Zareda only, like assassin only, then you may lose some units in the first turn. So this is why like a tank is still recommended. And basically the best tank is Landius and Amelia. Vigors may work as well, it's just not as efficient as Landius, because Landius can also counter-attack with the when countering the range attack from assassins and also the archer mobs. So Varlan is basically the easiest Aniki. So basically, I would say the map is also not very big. So I would say anything that is not cavalry unit works. Like Elven, like Yulia, like Leonhard is pretty decent. Sakura is pretty nice. Bernhard works pretty well. So basically, I would say anything that is not cavalry units works in Varlan. And like Nemesis is actually this is like the Holy Demon Aniki. So basically, I would recommend you to win Shelfonio. So when Shelfonio really helps a lot because there are like demon mobs, and also the Aniki himself is bringing himself is demon class. So Shelfonio's Heaven Sanction can deal a decent amount of damage to all of them. And Luna is basically very good here because she can carry faction buff. And Yulia, Holy Unit Yulia is very good. Lana here as Holy Unit is very good as well. Zareda, Claret, and Cherry are very good. You can still use like Leon or Automoler in this map, it's just they are not as good as the other units, and they are not as efficient as the other units as well. If you are using Leon here, don't use Royal Cavalry in this case, use the Angle in this case. So this is basically about the auto Aniki farmings. Overall, I don't think auto Aniki farming is very challenging. It's just if you use like more long leg characters, and you know, if you use like more, you know, if you just be a little bit more considerate when you do auto farming, the auto farm can be more significantly more effective. So, and then I'm going to talk about the joint battle. So this is basically a part a lot of players have trouble with tab as well. So basically, Monday, Tuesday joint battle is still the easiest one, because you know you have like 30 turns, and if you really feel that is a challenge to finish this map, you can just slowly push one region after one region. So you don't need to rush, and like generally speaking, Omega and Zareda works well in this map, and basically anything works here. Just to make sure if you are playing with your friend, then you can farm it pretty fast. You know, if you are doing it with like other you know, players that you don't know and you don't communicate with them, and you feel like they need some help, you can just push it slowly, like finish one region after the other region. You know, like kill Listel first, and then kill Omega, and then finally try to kill like Gizlov and Zareda. So just push a little bit, little by little, you shouldn't have any problem here. And then Wednesday and Thursday joint battle is the one that some players have trouble with. So here, basically, you need to make sure that you know the sequence of attack. In the first turn, Lanfond is probably going to rush to you, and then like after a few turns, like Omega will jump to you, and then the Glorid and Layla will rush to you as well. So I really recommend the first player try to handle Omega with like a very strong single target character like Leon, and then another follow-up can kill the other units. So Leon is pretty good, and Zareda is pretty good as well. So Zareda, you need to make sure your Zareda can kill Omega. So if your Zareda is not super good, maybe you need a little bit help from like Tierias or from like King's Crown if you have one. So yeah, but first the player should be able to take care of the Omega, and then the second player, basically I would recommend the second player and third player together work with the mid wave with his Lanfond. So the best tank there, I would say, is actually Landius, but I think leading works as well. So, but just to make sure that you really have, like, you have Tierias in your team, so you have the combat healing, so they can heal up after combat. So this is, I think Tierias here is very essential. And yeah, I think both Landius and leading works, but Landius works a little bit better because Landius can also take care of the left wave, which is the Glorid and Layla. That wave has like 2 mages, and Landius kill these mages easily when countering attack. So in this joint battle, I would say if you are playing like as 3 players in this joint battle, I would say actually like 2 players in this joint battle, and each player controls 3 characters would actually make it easier. But if you are playing as like 3 people, make sure like at least 2 players know what's going on here. And you know, if you feel like, for example, in this case, this second player doesn't know what's happening, he's bringing like Lana and Basil basically like do nothing in this battle. So you make sure that you can still you know, you and the other player can still take care of the you know, can still take care of the battle. So basically here I have Leon and Diana to take care of the left side, and then the right side I have Leading and Tiarius here to like tank the middle, and also, you know, later my Leon can help take care of Glory and Layla later. So basically, yeah, at least 2 players needs to know what's going on, and the other players, yeah, he is definitely not picking the right units, but as long as he can contribute a little bit, that shouldn't be too hard. So for Friday and Saturday joint battle, I really think Landius and Tiarius are the best units to have. So if you use Leading as tank, that's still fine, but Leading cannot countering the range attack, which we do have some range attack in this joint battle. So in this case, Landius is better, but Leading works as well, and you really need Tiarius here. And as long as you have Tiarius and Leading, or Tiarius and Landius, and then you know where each spawn is, then it shouldn't be too hard for you. And the other characters basically just, I would say, long leg characters are more recommended, because they can, you know, they can kill enemy more effectively. For example, first player and second player here, if they are using something like Zareda or Cherry, like Leon and Automuller or Luna, it would be even better. Like this guy is using Vigors. Vigors don't do much in this map, I would say. And Yulia is a very strong, aggressive character, but she's just not very long leg. So yeah, Leon is pretty decent. Boren, if you are using Apex boot, then I think he's fun as well. But the key is really, if you want to be successful in this joint battle, just you know, and you are worrying about you know, if other players know how to, you know, how this map works, then you probably want to bring tank and you know, healer in this map, so that you can control the pace of this map, and you can make sure, you know, Angelina here is not killed. So yeah, basically the key here is really tank plus healer. If you can get, you know, if you just worry about the success of this map, then you just bring this yourself. And then for Sunday joint battle, this is the most challenging one, and I have posted a YouTube video about how to do this how to do this challenge, or how to do this joint battle. So basically here I would say like the key characters are still tanks and healers, and the Tiarius works extremely well. And for aggressive characters, Yulia here works very well because she can block the enemy from moving. For example, the first wave, the enemy has like 1 Sigma, and Sigma is actually pretty annoying because his attack range is very high, and if you let him, you know, like move, his attack range is actually pretty huge. And then in this case, Yulia is very good because Yulia can fix his mobility basically to 0, or basically to 1. So I think it's 0, 1. Should be 1, yeah. So yeah, so with Yulia, which can significantly reduce the mobility of Sigma, that is very helpful. And even like Yulia can also, the other thing that Yulia can do is that she can heal back after attacking, so that is always very good. And also even like deal with the flyer wave, she can fix the flyer there as well. So flyer has like 5 mobility, so there is a chance that they can jump into this green area. So if you fix them, they cannot move anymore, so they cannot move that long anymore. So Yulia is very good here. And for the third guy, he needs to deal with like Sword Elven, so Leading is not very good if you are using like Fenalex troops. If you are using Leading as like the third player, then you probably want to use like the Zealot instead of Phenalex, and then he's still fine. But still, like cavalry land use here is probably the best choice for the third player. And then you can use like Ritual if you are using land use, and you can use Chris if you are using leading. So, and Omega here is also pretty decent because like Omega is always like very good in all the PvE content because he can easily ignore the troop of the enemy and just directly kill the enemy. So Omega is very good in all of the joint battle. Here Omega can work as well. So yeah, in this case, in this standard joint battle, all players needs to be very careful to make sure your enemy is not killing your tank and your enemy is not entering this region. So this is all about my recommendations and in like joint battles and also auto Aniki farming. Hopefully this is helpful and hopefully the pub run with auto Aniki farming and and also the joint battle can be improved a little bit. Okay, thanks, peace.